Oh, god damn, my dick is so engorged. And you're gonna have to dig deep. Dig so fucking deep right now on a deep cut. Such deep cut. Oh, so deep. Deeper than the cut on my fucking shaft. That made it so fucking perfect. So perfect indeed. Alright, Cool Boy Nation. That's biases from me. Next time, you can suck my Italian cock as I come down your fucking throat. Johnny, play the fucking tape, Johnny.
Live from Cool Boys Central.
You boss down there. I'm boss up here.
Hold your dicks and rub your tits.
You'll be ice cold.
Here come the Cool Boys.
Just a young boy.
So cool.
So cool. So cool.
I see Cool Boys.
How many times have you seen Infinity War now?
I actually just watched it today for this podcast.
I want to see it again, like really, really badly. After having seen like Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther again for the nth time, like those movies grew on me so much. And seeing the IMAX versions, the 3D versions, which you can get if you buy the UK Blu-ray, I absolutely fucking love when they go to IMAX every single time in Black Panther. It's
okay. No.
awesome. It is. They picked. I mean, it's a movie. When I saw it, I was thinking to myself, "Yeah, I don't know when you would necessarily need to put this movie into IMAX." And they're like here, 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 and here, and you feel it because they play to it. Like when you go into Wakanda through the mountain, it's one of those types where the bars just decide to go up. You know, they slide off the frame. I love that shit. Like I loved in Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol when Tom Cruise steps out of the
Burj Khalifa.
Yes, and he just fucking like all of a sudden the widescreen bars just push up.
They push
slide
up?
out.
It doesn't just cut?
Yeah, no, for that they push up, and they did the same thing with Black Panther when he goes into Wakanda. They do the same thing in South Korea when he does the backflip onto the back of the car Shuri's driving, and they just push up like that. They reveal like the IMAX, and it was such a cool way. They also do the waterfall sequences; those are all IMAX, and they look really good IMAX.
One thing I definitely don't like, and trying to think, it's not Ghostbusters 2016 is not the only example of a movie that does this. Obviously, I don't like when you remake an entire movie with women, but
I
also
know what you're talking about. You're
going
talking
over
about
the black. Yeah, going. Is that the 3D version? Because the Plinkett review uses that version.
I think that's the 3D version. I think we talked about this because I never saw that until I saw the Plinkett review. You know what movie does that? That's Marvel.
Yeah,
Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 both have sequences in which shit goes over the black bars.
That's in 3D for Guardians, as far as I know. Yeah, and I've only watched it in 3D once. 3D doesn't really add anything to it, but yeah, it happens quite a bit where if that I guess it makes sense for 3D because it's like it's coming at you, but it's also distracting.
I like it. I love when they do that. I love when they play with the frame sizes. The only time I don't like when you mess with the frame aspect ratio is if you do it lazily like Michael Bay did in The Last Night, because that is really horrible. I think they pointed out in like the Screen Junkies Honest trailer as well, but like it is like 3 or 4 separate different aspect ratios, and they're just because that's the way he shot it, and he's just he's leaving it in native format. He's not cropping it at all. And in Samurai Jack, it is all about aspect ratio changing. I mean, it's vertical aspect ratios, it's square aspect ratios, it's horizontal aspect ratios, and it's all variations of those. But The Last Night just is so lazy. It's just like, whatever, I shot on a whole bunch of cameras, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I like when you play with the movie a little bit.
Yeah.
I just watched, never done this before, I rewatched Kill Bill as one movie, just back to back. Because there's no, as I understand it, no 4-hour cut of like where
the whole bloody affair does not exist yet, except in stores. It does exist apparently as an edit already. It is done, is complete. The only issue that apparently, if I'm understanding is correct,
the producer raped a bunch of people.
Is that Harvey Weinstein and the Weinstein Company has the rights to Quentin Tarantino films, but also Miramax does, and so nobody can settle on who could release the whole bloody affair, because you'd have to pay essentially money to release it, but then also who gets the profit of releasing that? And is there a profit at this point in releasing that? I think there is if he does a volume 3, which he always said he was going to do. And the little actress that was Vivica A. Fox's daughter in that movie is now, and has been for a while now, been age appropriate to be able to play a character that could come out of, and take revenge on the bride. Beatrix Kiddo.
I should probably say greetings, Cool Boy Nation, at one point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Greetings, Cool Boy Nation, and welcome to another installment of the Cool Boys Podcast. Marvelous Marvel moments in movies. I'm Fantastic Four Felk.
I'm Blade Ballard. So cool.
And not joining us this evening is Nolan, who died of AIDS.
Cool story.
He did.
He got AIDS and then took vitamins and cold pills. Some
Yes.
Tylenol, cold and flu, and it didn't work.
I told him to take ibuprofen, but he didn't take that either.
So speaking of AIDS, I watched both of them back to back. The reason I was mentioning Kill Bill is because if we're still keeping all the stuff before that.
Yeah, we're keeping all of that stuff.
Kill Bill plays with like the movie framing a lot, because like it goes to 4-3 at one point where where the bride is getting buried in Kill Bill Volume 2. There's parts where she'll like kick Daryl Hannah's character, and like it splits the frame into like 2 shots, and there's like a lot of like a punch sends it into black and white, even though I think that was to get away with MPA stuff because there's too much blood.
The Japanese version, which the sequence, the Crazy 88 sequence, is a little longer and it's all in color.
Interesting. Is that released in Japan?
I've seen it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Because I always knew that there was like talk of like making it into one movie, although it doesn't really like work. So much of the structure is designed around the 2-movie thing, which was Harvey Weinstein's idea.
Apparently, like he went back and he had an animation done, another anime sequence done for the whole bloody affair that helps tie it in. And there is an edit in which Bill isn't played anymore as a secret, and it kind of, if my understanding is correct, the rumor is that the edit is modified that you just know who kind of Bill is throughout, and 2 is a little bit more peppered in throughout 1.
Oh, because you never see him in the first one. You just hear him at the end in voiceover.
Yeah, and David Carradine didn't even know that was the case. When he was shooting those sequences, he thought he was shooting like, face like shots and close-ups. So when he saw the film, he was like, "You cut me out of the movie." He was all pissed off. He didn't understand the idea of leaving Bill for the next movie and kind of shooting him off camera like Dr. Claw or whatever.
It works.
It totally works. It's
His
great.
performance is fucking so good in that movie.
One of the things I love about Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2 is that Volume 1 is a straight up samurai film and Volume 2 is a straight up kung fu film. And it is like unembarrassingly so. Like, I mean, even the structure of the second volume is completely kung fu, with like the training process and having to learn to get there, and the master being defeated, and having and being killed by his own pupil. And then like the revenge plot, like all of that is so kung fu.
Yes.
And then the samurai one is also revenge based, but it has this like through line of someone just being like unstoppable and keeps coming, like essentially walks down the path, whatever the path being her plot. And as she goes down it, she just keeps coming across somebody, cut him down, someone else, cut him down, somebody else, cut him down, 88 people, cut him down. And it's just like, that's samurai film. While the kung fu film is like, no, like each time she interacts with one of the members of her ninja assassin team, she has to actually like use her brain and defeat them.
Yeah, that's a
completely different movie. It's almost a completely different hero.
Yeah. She fucks up a lot more in the second one, or not fucks up, but like loses or almost loses. The second one's a harder time, and she suffers more as a result, but overcomes it, and that's good. It was really weird watching 2, especially because it's like there was a time when you could just enjoy like most of those movies fights. The first, like the opening of the first one, and then everything in the middle of the second one is a woman fighting a woman. Yet, back then, you just took that as like action. There wasn't like a message to it. And this, I can tie it to tonight's episode by saying something that I was disappointed. It hasn't happened twice in the MCU. I like when a female character is fighting another female character and she calls her a bitch. I think that's it happens in Aliens.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Okay, yep.
It happens in Kill Bill Volume 2. Bitch, you don't have a future. Which is the culmination of the whole stuff with My Pay or whatever his name was, the master, who she finds out, Ellie Driver, Daryl Hannah tells her like how she killed her, like, I killed your master.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that part.
That's right. I killed your master. And now I'm gonna kill you too. With your own sword, no less. Which in the very immediate future will become my sword. Bitch. You don't have a future.
The bride's comeback is, bitch, you don't have a future. And I was just like, there's twice in Civil War where Scarlet Witch slams Black Widow into some kind of airport stuff.
You were pulling your punches.
Yeah, she goes, I was like, she's just going, bitch. And someone should have called Proxima Midnight a bitch. One of the hero girls. But they don't do that. And I don't really know why. Because both of those felt very natural to me.
I don't know. Maybe Marvel doesn't want to push it too much with language, but I mean, maybe
people say shit a lot in those movies. They just go shit.
Yeah, shit's the only thing they're allowed to really say, right? I mean, they've never in an MCU film, MCU only.
Yeah.
Not the X-Men stuff. They have never once dropped fuck, and they can. It's a PG-13 film. They can get away with a fuck.
They can get away with a fuck. The only PG-13 Marvel character who said fuck has been Wolverine both times, correct? Oh, no, wait. I guess Charles Xavier says it in First Class, quoting him.
Yes, and Deadpool, they've said a bunch of characters have said fuck.
I just meant the PG-13s. Yeah, the R-rated ones, people say fuck all the time.
They started saying fuck in First Class.
What's the best use of the word fuck in an R-rated Marvel movie?
I don't know. Is that
easy for me. From Blade, some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah, and that's improv.
Yes, it is.
That's it.
Well, no, it's not improv. I think the story was that he said it in just talking, like as Wesley Snipes in a movie.
Well, that's how all improv is on cinema. Like, I mean, people said that Drax saying, why is Gamora in Infinity War was all improv. But if you watch the movie Infinity War, it's a pan from someone saying, who is Gamora? And then someone saying, and then Tony going, what is Gamora? And then panning down to Drax saying, why is Gamora?
Yeah.
It's like, obviously, if that's improv, that was improv that came up during some lighting tests or rehearsal.
Yeah.
And then they planned the shot to at least pan down to Drax. But I imagine the same thing happened there too.
No, the Blade thing is funny because it was in a production meeting and David Ayer's like, yes, that's awesome. I'm going to put that in the movie. And Snipes allegedly said, no, that's stupid. And it stayed in the script.
David Ayer was the writer of Blade?
Not David Ayer, David S. Goyer.
Okay, I was going to say.
Another fucking weirdo tattooed fuck who's been in every comic movie. I
kind of want to just talk about Kill Bill now because, like, you just mentioned earlier, like that whole kung fu shit, and I was thinking, like, even the plucking of Elle Driver's eye is like a move she has to spend the whole time learning when she's practicing kung fu.
Yeah,
even breaking out of the coffin when she's buried alive is something that she had to learn while doing kung fu, and then like all of that, like
yes.
It's so good. And then she has to learn the actual the death strike hand move, or what is it called?
God, I can't remember. I just watched it.
Plan A taught you the 5-point palm exploding heart technique. Of course he did.
All the music during that sequence is from the RZA too, from fucking Wu-Tang Clan. Apparently,
I love RZA. Absolutely,
it's
Bobby Digital.
It's so fucking good, and I love that the RZA thought that he could then direct a kung fu movie with Russell Crowe, and it was terrible, and no one saw it.
The Man with the Iron Fist.
Yeah, okay, that's what it's called. I could not remember it. I'm impressed you did.
Well, Speaking of Iron Fist, let's get into some Marvel. But before we get into some Marvel, what are you drinking?
Well, before that, I just want to say, why do you think I watched Kill Bill?
Because of Drill Bill.
Because of fucking Drill Bill. Drill Bill
Yes.
had me thinking of it all week, and I saw it on Netflix. I'm like, I'm rewatching these movies.
Drill Bill Volume 1.
And Nolan's use of The Lonely Shepherd.
The Lonely Shepherd, yes.
The song that ends the first one.
Yep.
Just made me remember how much good music is in those movies.
Oh yeah, I have that song because of that movie.
Oh yeah, I don't think it gotten a lot of play before then. Is the that main like dun 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 that Ennio Morricone? That's original music for the movie.
I don't know. I didn't know. No, I think he took a lot of themes from like old school. I don't know the movies. I'm not like that versed in kung fu and samurai films. But my understanding is that he did go and like he sampled at least from like other scores or actually used other scores from like Sonny Chiba films or something like that. Like, he did have his own like composer. And was it Ennio?
Yeah, Ennio Morricone.
It was him.
Yeah,
he scored Kill Bill.
He is credited for it, but if they just used tracks he had already recorded, then not really.
That might make sense because they may have pulled tracks from like Once Upon a Time in the West and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Maker's Mark in honor of Nolan.
Aw,
who we lost recently to HIV. No, full-blown AIDS.
I agree.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking a bottle tonight of rosé wine. Rosé all day.
I always thought it was pronounced Rose One. You're so stupid, Rose. You're so fucking stupid.
Did you just say you're so fucking stupid?
That's in the R-rated version of Titanic.
Well, guy.
Uh-oh.
I should just say Felk. Felk.
Guy.
I just have one quick question before our boners get marvelous.
Oh, there we go.
Would you rather fuck Captain America the Winter Soldier, Black Widow, and any other MCU babe of your choosing all night long until everyone comes to completion, no less than 8 times? But once you are finished, Black Widow will kill you by shoving a white-hot rod up your asshole and through your mouth.
Okay.
Or get pegged by Iron Man 2 Black Widow until she comes exactly 26 times while the Avengers masturbate in the corner. But Black Widow lets you live when all is said and done.
This is a really, it's like what, four, how many years is that, the difference? Iron Man 2 is 2010.
2010.
So it's just a 5-year older or younger Scarlett Johansson with a slightly different haircut.
Practically. It's really just the haircut. Yeah.
So I'll pick the one in which I do not get killed.
Are you sure? Because the Winter Soldier Black Widow is like really hot.
I mean, not so much hotter than she looked in Iron Man 2. I actually think she looked better in Iron Man 2.
I do not like all that curly hair going crazy.
I don't mind the hair.
No, that's when they first cast her, I was like, give me Emily Blunt. This is horrible. But I came around. By the time, even she had the worst haircut in the Avengers, in my opinion. Even her haircut's better in Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Oh, the worst haircuts in Infinity War. Where she just like has her natural fucking. I'm blonde now. I'm tired of the dye.
Yeah, okay, but I don't like the Avengers haircut. It's just a weird one, and her acting and Joss Whedon's portrayal of Black Widow actually made me like love the character. It was the Avengers. When I came out of the Avengers, I was like, oh, I am all about Black Widow now.
Yeah. And then in the second one, he wrote that she was sterilized by the Russians, and then she refers to herself as a monster, and all the women got mad at Joss Whedon, and he quit.
She's also a monster because she's killed a lot of people. That's how I took it.
Yeah, but that's not how. Joss Whedon, you can't satisfy radical feminists.
He tries.
Trying.
He tries too hard.
He tries too hard. Now he has no fucking friends
I think he trolled them actually when he did Justice League, Felk, because if you think about Justice League, Joss Whedon put in so many shots that were upskirts of Gal Gadot and butt shots, low angle butt shots of Gal Gadot.
We don't know how much of that was him and how much.
No, it was apparently so bad. Patty Jenkins, apparently, this is like a major rumor that was released. Patty Jenkins said that he is no longer allowed to be anywhere near Wonder Woman's character at all. He cannot direct Wonder Woman anymore. He cannot write for Wonder Woman anymore. He's not allowed anywhere near her creation.
Well, I've only read like some synopsises of it, but like apparently his Wonder Woman script would have been very sexist in modern
That's
times.
what everyone says.
And he sees himself as like the overt feminist director. And like I think I used to follow him on Twitter, and like, every time he tries to make a pro women statement on Twitter, feminists just attack the fuck out of him. It's like, oh, you mean like when you fired a woman because she was pregnant on your TV show, or when you cheated on your wife? It's like, you kind of didn't really pick your side there, given your own actual backstory.
Poor Joss Whedon.
Avengers was cool for the time, but when we rank every single Marvel movie, which I guess we're doing this episode,
no, that's not this episode.
Avengers will be relatively low on my list because it hasn't held up well. The dialogue now feels very Joss Whedon-y.
Oh, see, for me, the Avengers, absolutely. I've watched it again recently, like right before Infinity War. It still holds up. I mean, the film looks like I'm watching a TV movie. Yeah, and like I'm watching the season finale of like a giant television show, and like this is like the big budget TV episode. It definitely looks like that, but I still like it. It's very Whedon-y, but it doesn't feel like it's overtly so to the point where it detracts from the film. Age of Ultron, I will 100% agree with you. It is now too Whedon-y. Like you do watch it and you're like, oh my God, it's a little fucking heavy handed. There's some great sequences in that film. In general, the film is not horrible at all. It's fine. I like it a lot, but it does not hold up at all. Like that, and I think Iron Man 2 like really don't hold up at all.
Even especially we talked about using the word shit. If you kept that in the episode, now you kind of have to. Shit. We talked about using the word shit a lot in Avengers. It's like the first thing Iron Man says in 2, and there's that or Ultron, and it's like, what's the exchange? Then Cap goes, language. Shit. Language. And then they make fun of him. Like, that was a fun interaction.
Wait a second. No one else is going to deal with the fact that Cap just said language?
I know. Just slipped out.
And then they mentioned it like 3 or 4 fucking times more. And it's like,
yeah, at the after party, like Kobe Smulders, Maria Hill's all like, Cap, he said a bad word.
He said a bad language word.
Oh, bad language word, yeah.
You bet your ass.
Steve, he said a bad language word.
Do you tell everyone about it?
Joss is too pleased with some of his jokes a little bit. And that kind of infected James Gunn with Guardians Volume 2, because Volume 2 there's way too much people laughing at the jokes. It's like they're trying to make it seem like it's really funny, but people laugh too much.
For me, Volume 2, I like Volume 2 a lot, Guardians Volume 2, but for me, Volume 2, it feels a little bit like it should have been played a little bit more serious, and that some of the jokiness, especially with Drax's character, he like just practically laughs throughout that whole film. I felt like Infinity War, they kind of got Drax right again. Like
he never laughs again. Enough. He doesn't laugh in the whole movie.
And he's hilarious. Like he's fucking hilarious in that movie. But him spending the whole movie like laughing, like he pokes at Bubbles and he laughs, and he like constantly laughs around Mantis, and he laughs when Mantis gets bit by Rocket, and it's just like all these laughs, and like it gets to a point where he laughs like coming out of like the monster in the beginning. Like it's just like you're just like, oh my God, he just won't stop laughing. What is going on here? But yeah, so Felk, you want to get pegged by Iron Man 2 Black Widow until she comes exactly 26 times?
I'd rather fuck her and all the other MCU hotties, which aren't really that great. Isn't that fucking great a selection, honestly?
Are you kidding me? Fuck, what do you? Oh, Haley Atwell, Elizabeth Olsen.
Say you got
Zoe
one.
Saldana.
You got one name in before you lost me. Zoe, yeah, okay, she's pretty hot, especially green. That'd be fun. But
oh yeah, Karen Gillan.
I just don't find Elizabeth Olsen that attractive. She looks like she does stuff.
Kate Mara.
That's not MCU.
Yeah, she is. She's in Iron Man 2. She has to hand Tony the papers. He's like getting handed papers.
That barely counts.
That's Jamie
extra.
Alexander.
Jamie Alexander's good. And Kat Dennings is also a favorite of mine.
Well, I guess I would just get pegged too. I wouldn't want to, but yeah, I guess you're right. I don't want to die. You took the fun out of the other one because it would have been fun to live life on the edge real hard and fast for a moment. Making sure everyone comes no less than 8 times.
Honestly, you had a solid would you rather, and then you ruined it in the end by saying for each one, and you die, and in the other one, but you live. And it's like, well, that kind of overshadows everything that comes before it.
So what would you do if your life was not on the line?
If my life was not on the line, and my option is to fuck Winter Soldier, Black Widow, and any other MCU babe of my choosing, or get pegged by Iron Man 2 Black Widow until she comes exactly 26 times while the Avengers masturbate in the corner, I would pick the first one.
All right, so you're gonna die, I guess.
No, I'm saying if you take the second part out of it.
Well, I think there's some people out there that would be like, getting to do that and then getting a white hot rod shoved up your ass.
By the way, that
comes out your mouth.
That feels out of character for Black Widow. I always assumed as an assassin, she was like poisoning people or like bam, bam, 2 shots back of the head and you're gone. You never see it coming. But like shoving a white hot rod up your asshole through your mouth, that's like torture to death, which isn't something that Russian spies typically do. Oh, by the way, is she a Russian spy or is she an American spy pretending to be a Russian spy, or was she a Russian spy? She was a secret.
She was Russian, and then she ended up defecting to SHIELD, which is not necessarily an American institution, even though it kind of is an American institution in the first few films.
Yeah, and then who knows what it is after that. It exists as a little splinter group that's also not mentioned by the main movie.
Ever again. Well, we're going to talk only about Marvel Cinematic Universe tonight, so why don't we just move on?
Cool Boy Nation! If there is a would you rather you would like us to discuss on a future podcast, please email us at thecoolboyspodcast@gmail.com. So basically, Justin. Is Dorrance in this one?
No.
Okay, so it's only one person who's responded to that. Well, cool boys, I don't think you can get a more topical would you rather than that. Time to move on to our Cool Boys marvelous moments in movies.
Ready? Let's go.
It's time for
boners.
Spoiler.
The setup is marvelously this.
Ooh.
Each episode, all 2 present cool boys. Nobody knows exactly how many cool boys there are, but 3 is the most popular number.
The number goes up and down. It fluctuates.
Have entered different, fabulous, marvelous Marvel moments from Marvel movies into our cool boy boner Marvel hats. We will then draw a total of 5 Marvel moments this episode at random and then talk about all the fabulous Marvels they gave us.
Ooh.
Now, these marvelous boners could have sprouted because of a specific heroic shot. Maybe it was a one-liner from Tony Stark. He's got a lot of them. Shit! Perhaps it was a musical cue. But probably not, because Marvel's not really known for good music. Maybe,
the Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther were.
Yeah, last 2 years of their fucking 10... God, it's only been 10 years. Maybe it was just a glorious male ass shot walking away from the camera that made your dick marvel. The ass has to be straight Hugh Jackman ass. Or it's gay Hulk ass. No gay ass Hulk. Wait. Or it's Marvel ass. Only gay X-Men ass here.
Oh!
Now, no one has seen each other's Marvels, so it'll be a nice little surprise even for us every time a new boner moment is drawn. One last thing to mention before we start popping some fucking Marvel boners. Each boner moment drawn will have a discussion limit of 10 minutes, but not really because Nolan's not here to time us this episode. Just to make sure we don't get too hulked out. And most importantly, no Marvelous pre-cum allowed. Okay, cool boys, let's grip our rods. And the first boner from the boner hat is... What is the most... Oh, this boner comes to us from Ballard. Who is, or what is, the most fabulous superhero from the MCU? And that stands for Marvel Cunt Unicorn.
Disconfirmed.
Well, this is a big question, really, right? I mean, it's hard to like really have one particular most fabulous superhero. So I mean, I think we just kind of have to go through.
It's obviously Iron Fist.
It's Iron Fist. All right, move on to the next one.
He's so fucking charismatic.
No, he is. He's really good. He's fun to watch. He's great comedic timing, wonderful martial arts skills. That
it's clear the actor took a full week of training to learn how to do kung fu.
At least he had 40 minutes before some scenes to practice.
And
he nailed it. He was killing it.
Right,
Danny Rand.
Yeah. From the Rand Corporation, which is a real corporation. I know it's mentioned in The Simpsons. I don't care. What is your pick for most fabulous super boner from the MC Boner universe?
Well, right now, currently, as we're recording this, which is just a few months after Infinity War came out, I really want to spend a lot of time with Thor.
Okay,
and that's kind of crazy because he had universally the two earliest, weakest films.
I think Iron Man 2 was actually the weakest.
Yeah, but Thor and Thor: The Dark World are not really looked at by like a lot of people.
No, I agree. And even in the Avengers movies, Thor's kind of boring. It isn't until Infinity War and Ragnarok, but like I really like what Thor's selling, and I kind of wanted I like Black Panther a lot too, honestly. Like I like that character. Yeah, T'Challa. It would not be on my list.
I like, honestly, Iron Man. I've always had fun with Iron Man.
Not because he's black, though. Just because I think there's not, conflict to that character. He's, pretty much perfect at everything.
Yeah, I like that. That's like Superman. I like that about a lot of those kind of characters.
I mean,
I like characters that are, almost, too perfect, like Captain Marvel. And then you just, all right, well, let's see what kind of creative ways you can tear this character down.
Exactly. I mean, that's a little bit of the call it social justice, I believe, because you're not going to find a character who's male and white who's perfect. Let's face facts.
Tony's pretty perfect.
Tony's an alcoholic and super
arrogant. Not in the MCU.
I mean, Iron Man 2 is the closest they've ever come to dealing with it.
The demon in the bottle.
Where they're implying he was getting drunk too much.
Yeah, and it was his blood toxicity level was going up because of the whatever it was, the uranium or whatever in his chest.
But he is not perfect. He's arrogant.
The arc reactor was bad or something.
Entire second Avengers movie is because he does something he shouldn't be doing because he's arrogant and fucks up and creates Ultron. So no, he's not perfect, and he's got a lot of issues, and he's had Pepper's constantly calling him on his shit. So no, he's a pretty flawed character, and he is a spoiled brat, and he kind of realizes it, but that is a big part of it. That he doesn't really know. He's rich off shit he didn't even know how he was actually making the money, and it was selling arms to semi-fictional Afghanistan terrorists.
He must have had some inclination that terrorists are getting a hold of his weapons. I think we've left off a big player here that we haven't mentioned at all, and he has his own film franchise, and his name of course is Ant-Man, and Ant-Man is also no, fuck that. I honestly I didn't like the casting of Paul Rudd very much when I heard it, and then when you see Ant-Man, you're kind of like, all right, I like Paul Rudd. I just don't know if I like him in movies.
Good morning, Paul. What will your first sequence of the day be?
Computer load up, celery man, please.
Yes, Paul.
I like Paul Rudd in sketches. I like Paul Rudd as a supporting player in another story. I don't know if I like Paul Rudd films other than They Came Together.
I think Clueless is one of the best movies of all time, and I think he's great in it.
See, he's supporting in that.
He's supporting in that.
But they came together. He's a main character, and they came together.
I haven't seen that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I find that kind of humor a little too broad, or a little too I don't know, just esoteric for my liking. I go a little bit more grounding. I'm not a huge fan of Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh, I love it.
It's too weird.
Love it. Yeah, well, who we failed to mention so far is truly Steve Rogers.
Okay, Captain America.
Captain America.
Can't look at him the same way after Chris Evans' little bitch fests on Twitter and stuff.
I'm not on Twitter, so I have no clue what you're talking about.
Just the person, like he's very holier than thou, and that kind of ties into the Boy Scout shit from the character, but the real Captain America wouldn't be making as many overt
tweets.
Statements that demonize half the country post 2016, and it's just like, dude, that's half your audience, man. That's just, we're watching this movie because your performance as Cap is good, but I mean, the real Captain America the real Chris Evans wouldn't have fucking made it past boot camp. He wouldn't throw himself on any fucking grenade.
See, I don't have, I guess, that insight. So for me, I really love Cap, and I really like what Chris Evans has done with the character. I think he's the best part of the first Avenger, Captain America: The First Avenger. I don't really like that movie much because they take the entire second act and condense it down into a montage. That's just like a god awful, fucking horrible montage. And the third act is solid. The prologue and the epilogues are completely useless, and I feel like those could have been pushed into the Avengers film. But the first act is a great like story, origin story, and to see like Steve Rogers as this tiny little kid, like this little guy, and then he becomes this big muscular man, and then goes on these adventures, and then you kind of don't really care too much about the character, and you don't really feel for him when he loses Bucky, and you don't really, you feel a little bit for him. At least in phase 1, he was the only love story I really cared about when he has to, say goodbye to Peggy. But he becomes incredible in The Winter Soldier.
Never even kisses her, does he? I mean, he
kisses her goodbye.
Yeah.
And then Tommy Lee Jones's characters are like, I'm not kissing you. And then he has to hop on the plane.
So can we state something? A big reason why Cap is not going to be on my fucking list. I liked the Captain America movies. I like the way he's used in the cinematic universe as a whole. That he is like the Boy Scout. He's I'm Mr. Good. I'll do what's right. I don't like bullies, but you also don't fuck, do you, Cap? Because unless I'm mistaken, he's probably still a motherfucking virgin.
I thought they implied in Age of Ultron that he was not a virgin anymore.
When? What line?
When he's all like, I've seen that flirt.
That's just referring to her flirting with him in Winter Soldier. But she does.
I thought he meant like up close, like naked bodies rubbing on each other and sweaty sweat sex and shit.
I've had a girl with a pierced tongue eat my ass, and it was amazing. And Cap in The Winter Soldier is talking about dating a girl. And he's like, oh, that's the one with the pierced tongue. And he just goes, I'm not ready for that. And I'm like, Cap, I'm better than you. I'm more of a man than you are, you fucking little pussy. He's scared of a girl with a pierced goddamn tongue.
I don't know if he's...
he's not ready for it.
I guess that's what he means. Or maybe he's just not into piercings in general.
They're fucking... There's... The only reason, I mean, yeah, you can say, oh, it's aesthetic. It makes me look cool. But, like, piercings make blowjobs so much better. Pierced tongues. To quote, I think Chris Rock was the guy who said, like, if a girl has a pierced tongue, she'll probably suck your dick.
If a girl has a pierced tongue, she'll probably suck your dick. That'll be great. If a guy has a pierced tongue, he'll probably suck your dick.
Yeah, no sex in the champagne room.
Cornbread. Ain't nothing wrong with that. No matter what you think of what I'm saying, remember this one thing. there is no sex in the champagne room.
Yeah. Oh, that was like 1999.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, he's scared of that. The whole that's the opening bit too, where he's like talking to Scarlett's trying to. Like,
I went to college.
What?
I went to college.
What do you mean?
I know what it's like.
Okay, yeah. I thought you were just randomly asserting your fucking bona fides there, or bona fides. But yeah, no, the opening line is about like her trying to set him up with a fucking girl, and he's like, no, I prefer my virginity, and I don't know what he does. He probably reads at night. Fucking.
He's fucking Sharon Carter. I always thought he was gonna be fucking Sharon Carter.
No, that's the first kiss they have is in fucking Winter Soldier or Civil War, and he never sees her again because she probably got vaporized by Thanos.
She's CIA now, right? So maybe he visited her in Wakanda.
He's a fugitive.
They fucked somewhere.
No,
Berlin.
They never fucked. And also, that's the fucking granddaughter of his last girlfriend. That's creepy. That's a little fucking weird.
Or niece. Is she a niece? Was it grandma or was it my aunt?
She says Aunt Peggy.
I think, yeah, it was Aunt Peggy, yeah.
Well, she's pretty old, I guess.
God, oof. I love Peggy is so hot.
If I have to pick one superhero, I'm picking former heroin addict Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Tony Stark, because he is the closest thing to like what I would want to be, which is
he's amazing.
Pretty much exactly Batman, only your parents died when you were 20 instead of 10, and you didn't know they were murdered until like another 20 years later. So not exactly like Batman, but similar to Batman. And I wish they had pushed the alcoholism into Iron Man a little bit more, or into. I guess they tried to do it in 2. It should have been more of an arc that he copes with his demons. PTSD is a major like part of his character in Iron Man 3, and I don't. Oh, yeah. It's never really mentioned again.
Yeah, it is. It's the whole point of Ultron. It's clearly mentioned in Age of Ultron, the beginning of it. He's still suffering from it. It's not as out in the open.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
But it's absolutely. I mean, that is the purpose of the character.
But of all the Marvel characters, that's the one.
He has PTSD in Civil War. When he deals with the lady at the elevator and he like reaches for her hand when she's pulling a picture out of her purse, he can't help it. He thinks she's pulling a gun.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so yeah, exactly. He's flawed.
You know what? And Felk, I'll even go one further with you about Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, and I might have to agree with you in the end. He's written by his friend Justin Theroux. He's been written by Jon Favreau on the set of Iron Man. Justin Theroux was Iron Man 2. He's been written by Joss Whedon in The Avengers and Age of Ultron. He was written by Shane Black in Iron Man 3. He was written by the Stephen McFeely and Christopher Marcus and essentially the Russo brothers for Civil War. Mm-hmm. He was written by those exact same pair once again. And the other pair, the brothers, for Infinity War. And every single time, everybody's able to find his voice.
Yes.
So easily.
Well, we don't know what the page said. I mean, that might be Robert making his own changes.
So it must be to some extent because he has tied that character across how many different writers and over however many different directors. Like, it is incredible that every time you see him, he is. Oh, and I forgot Spider-Man Homecoming. I forgot about that. So he's just across the board is always on point. He's absolutely Tony Stark. And I would in Infinity War, and obviously spoilers, and there should have been spoilers this whole time. In Infinity War, I honestly thought Robert was dying. That Tony was dying when Thanos stabbed him. And I expect that, and I expect Cap to be killed. I even have a slight potential feeling that even Thor is going to die potentially in the next Avengers film. But
in retrospect, I should have seen it coming, but I believed he was going to die too.
I thought he was going to die.
They telegraph it so fucking hard. This is it. This is the moment you die, Tony. It's like Thanos saying that. It's like it's telegraphed so fucking hard. And I think what threw me off was The Force Awakens, because that movie also telegraphs so hard. Like right after he says, Harrison goes like, Ben, or whatever, and he
doesn't go like that. He yells, Ben!
And then he goes out on the fucking the balcony from clearly he's going to die and fall off, and it's like it's telegraphed so fucking hard. But it was like, this is the death. You mean
it's telegraphed by the red light, and all of a sudden the sunlight goes completely away, and it's just black and red light everywhere.
Dramatic scene happening now. So I kind of thought like maybe this is just the way that they handle big character deaths, because we really haven't seen one. Iron Man would be the first time it's been like, oh shit, they killed the character. They killed him. Unless you count Thor's mother. I mean, like the previous
or Odin, I guess.
The previous movies. Well, Odin
or Loki. You saw Loki earlier in that film, Infinity War, die, right? So that's a big character death.
Yeah, but that's Loki. I mean, Loki's point was kind of over. It was basically just comic relief in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. He was. I mean,
need a Loki anymore. I thought they were going to vindicate Loki more, by the way.
Oh, of course. Coming out of Thor: The Dark World, I mean, he was practically the anti-hero of that film.
Yeah. I thought there was going to be some line between, like, all it would take was like one little line between him and Thanos right before he died in the opening scene, where he's just like, like, I only agreed to invade Earth because that would have spared all of Asgard, or Earth and Asgard, from your plans to kill half of people or something. I thought there was going to be some like thing that said like, oh, he was only doing that because he's secretly been the good guy this whole time. But it really doesn't. He says, hey, we got Hulk, and the Hulk punch you now, and he tries to stab Thanos in the neck. But there's really never like some reveal like he was good the whole time.
No, and I almost wonder if they're going to double down on him being bad again, because if, like we pointed out in, I think, the Infinity War episode, or maybe it was the Deadpool episode, there was these watches on the guys in the set photos of the Avengers, showing them kind of look like it was traveling through time. And I was thinking to myself, like, I think I even mentioned this in the Infinity War episode, that I think they're going to be jumping through quantum realms and things like that, something to do with Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
And I was almost wondering, what if they get into a quantum realm and they're talking to, mirror versions of themselves, but they're in the New York sequence, and what if Loki somehow is there and overhears like this, like, talk from the future, quote unquote, of like how Thanos destroyed Earth and how he killed Loki and killed all these other people, and all these people died, and he kind of like somehow interjects himself into the timeline. So you have this Loki from 2012 interjecting himself into 2018 or whenever Avengers 4 takes place, and then he comes back into the story again, but he's evil because that's a bad Loki in 2012. That's not a good Loki like we got by 2014.
Yeah, I guess they're just going with the idea that he got good somewhere around Dark World.
Yeah, well, I think you're supposed to believe he got better during the course of the movie The Dark World, but he's even bad enough in Ragnarok that he fucks over Thor to the point where he leaves Thor to die on the planet Sakaar.
Loki. I know I betrayed you many times before, but this time it's truly nothing personal. The reward for your capture will set me up nicely.
Never one for sentiment, were you?
Easier to let it burn.
I agree. Oh, it looks painful. Oh, dear brother, becoming predictable. I trust you. You betray me round and round in circles we go. See, Loki, life is about growth. It's about change. But you seem to just want to stay the same. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you'll always be the god of mischief. But you could be more. Just put this over here for you. Anyway, all got places to be, so good luck, I guess.
And Thor actually leaves Loki behind.
But at the end, he comes back to Asgard to save all the Asgardians.
I think that's because Thor did that, because Thor called him out. Like, dude, I knew you're going to fucking betray me because you're a piece of shit, and you're always a piece of shit, and you'll always be a piece of shit, and that's just our games together. Kind of like Batman and the Joker, except just not as intense as that. And I think that's like what Loki needed. He almost needed that really tough love moment where Thor was like, look, dude, I love you, but I realize you and I are never going to work out. Peace out. And I'm leaving you here in Sakaar. And Loki was like, fuck, he actually fucked me.
Yeah. Because as far as Thor knows, he's going to get killed by the Grandmaster.
Right, yeah. Or
he's over
Thanos gets him at some point too, because I'm not sure if that's something that Thor was aware of though in the Avengers. I guess there maybe wasn't.
Yeah, he has because Thanos's little minion. I don't remember the fucking character's name. The guy who just talks.
Oh, Ebony Maw. I love him.
No, in Avengers. In Avengers.
Oh, the other.
Is his name the Other?
Yeah, the Other. Yeah.
The guy, he's like, like if you fail us, death will make you wish for something.
Yeah, it's the one that Ronan the Accuser kills in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, does he kill him?
Yeah, he spins his neck. He breaks his neck around. He uses his hammer to kill him. But
that's Wesley from Buffy and Angel, I think, is the actor.
Yeah, just under lots of makeup.
Yeah, it was Joss Whedon.
I really liked the character the Other, but it feels weird that you see, kind of looking back at that those villains like the children of Thanos, you go to even Sanctuary where Nebula's all doing her nails or whatever the fuck, and the Other's talking to Ronan the Accuser. He's like, you will not talk to Thanos or whatever, and then Thanos is just floating there. There's no the Black Order. There's no the Black Order in the Avengers when the Other's talking to Thanos and talking to Loki. But I do like. It's
not even clear who he's saying. Fine, I'll do it myself. Who are you talking to, Thanos?
I think he's talking to the dwarves. I think he's talking to the Neveldime dwarves or whatever, or Nevedalier.
Is that where he's supposed to be there?
Yeah, that's what they just made. They just finished making that gauntlet in that sequence. And that's when he kills all the dwarves other than King Eitri. That's when he kills them all immediately after that sequence.
So if that was when he had the gauntlet made, why would Odin have a fake version of a gauntlet he doesn't know about in his treasure room?
Well, remember, Hela goes through the treasure room and she knocks it off. She's like,
fake.
Some of these are just fake.
Odin's treasures.
Fake.
Most of the stuff in here is fake. Weak.
She says, by the way, I looked online when I rewatched that. She says all the stuff in here is fake or weak, and they cut to some blue glowing thing that's not the fucking Tesseract. Because then she walks by the Tesseract.
Yeah,
that's
the casket of Ancient Winters from the first Thor movie.
Oh fuck! I didn't know what the fuck that was. What the fuck's that?
That's the thing that unleashes winter. The frost giants love it because they can make anything into essentially into a Jotunheim.
Okay. So are you picking Tony as your favorite superhero from the MCU as well?
I think so. Well, I'm not 100% decided really, but I think it's either him or Thor, because Thor, I always liked Chris Hemsworth as Thor from the minute I saw him in Thor.
Really?
I know the movies are not highly regarded.
No.
But I like him as Thor. I liked him the way he was used in the Avengers. I really like the way they used him in Age of Ultron, even though he's not used much. I like what we get of him.
Really?
Like when he tells, I love when he tells Bruce Banner that, all the souls are on the fucking, gates of hell.
Thor report on the Hulk?
The gates of hell are filled with the screams of his victims. But not the screams of the dead, of course. No. Wounded screams, mainly whimpering, a great deal of complaining, and tales of sprained deltoids and gout.
It's like he doesn't realize that's upsetting, Bruce Banner, because he's coming at it from an Asgardian perspective.
I guess.
I like the way he's interjected into the films. Obviously, I could have used more of him or had a more structured approach to how they wanted to use him in Avengers films. But I like what Chris Hemsworth does with the character. And I was really, really fucking happy to see him soar as Thor in Ragnarok, because it is such a fucking good movie. I think we rated it 4 or 4.5 out of 5. It is absolutely now for me a 5 out of 5, boys. I love Thor Ragnarok.
It's one of their best, and you gave Tony or Robert Downey Jr. props for maintaining consistency of character throughout all fucking however many movies he's in.
Good point.
But man, dude, I rewatched Dark World after Thor Ragnarok because I'm like, is it really that bad? He's so charming. He is not in Dark World, and I don't really think he was in Thor. He's a different character. From the first fucking line in Ragnarok was like, oh, yeah, I know you're thinking, oh no, Thor's in a cage, how this happened? It's like, the Thor of every single previous movie did not have anywhere near that kind of inflection or jokiness to him. All the humor related to Thor prior to that is like him being fish out of water or him being in an awkward situation. Yep.
And I love that humor, by the way. I love fish out of water humor.
But then he's making jokes in Ragnarok.
Oh no, he's much more comfortable in Ragnarok. Absolutely, as different a character. And it shows. I mean, it is a vastly different film, and that's a good point you bring up about Tony. About across all these directors and writers, he's been able to, Robert Downey with Tony Stark, he's been able to really find this great character who has this horrible PTSD. Who I mean, that starts even within the 2008 Iron Man film, from being attacked by his terrorists using his own weapons against him, all the way through to where we have him now in Infinity War, where it's just he just keeps the guilt on his shoulders keeps growing and growing, but it's consistent. You do have Thor, this fish out of water character. You have a similar kind of dumb surfer blonde consistency in the way Chris Hemsworth has played Thor all the way across all the films. But you're right. It is interesting that all of a sudden in Ragnarok, they did change the character. They do modify the direction of that franchise. And with this, massive, injection of humor from Taika Waititi and set design, production design, that's so Jack Kirby inspired, that it does freshen the film up. And I am super excited about Thor. I did like the way Chris Hemsworth was before, but I didn't necessarily clamor for a Thor film.
Thor is my favorite part of Infinity War. And
he's maybe one of my favorite parts of Infinity War, other than Star-Lord and Iron Man.
Yeah, and prior to Ragnarok, I would never have thought I would even give a shit about Thor. So I can't.
Oh, Doctor Strange and Doctor fucking Strange. I love Doctor Strange in Infinity War.
He's he's okay. He's not super interesting. All right, so 2 reasons why Tony's my favorite, and we haven't touched on either of them, except for never brought it back around to Cap's a virgin, but Tony is the character that they go out of their way to make it clear this dude fucks.
Oh yeah, he fucks in the third scene in the in Iron Man 2008.
And 3 opens with him fucking that hot chick whose name I can't remember.
Wait, 3 opens? Oh, Rebecca Hall.
Yeah,
yes.
Rebecca Hall in the opening scene.
And in 1999, I'm blue, dabba dee dabba die.
He fucks Leslie Bibb in there. He's got strippers on his private plane who he's probably fucked.
Yep. And they cut out the scene in where he's in India or Pakistan or something, or Saudi Arabia.
Dubai.
And he goes to an orgy.
Dubai.
Yeah. He goes to an orgy and then he
to a party with scantily clad women.
No, it ends apparently as an orgy or whatever. And they cuts away and comes I forget. There's some kind of reference that he's at an orgy or he's going to an orgy or there's an orgy involved.
Yeah.
Hi. Are they?
That's for you.
For my consideration.
This is for you.
Good evening. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 5.
3.
Exactly. Shall we?
Oh boy.
Even when he's separated from Pepper, he's clearly fucking Pepper. But he also, when he's separated from her, he tries to fuck Honey.
No, it's not clear he's fucking Pepper until sometime after Iron Man 2. During Avengers, they're fucking.
Yes, in Avengers,
but not in Iron Man 2. They're still boss and and assistant.
Oh, he fucked her already.
You think he fucked his assistant?
Many times.
This confirmed.
So does he fuck her before we ever met them in 2008?
They just go out of their way to make it clear he fucks, and that means something to me as somebody who would not want to be this fucking
and
virginal.
You know what? They go out of their way to show that Bruce Banner cannot fuck in The Incredible Hulk.
That's too bad. That is sad.
Remember, he's trying to fuck Liv Tyler, and he's like, I can't get my heart rate up at all. And she's like, really? Not even a little bit? And he's like, no. Sorry.
I think he's learned to control it by the end of that movie, because he definitely fucks ScarJo. He's the only one he gets to.
No, that's what he says. He says, I physically can't have babies. That's what he means in Age of Ultron. When he's saying he can't have kids, Scarlett Johansson's like, I can't have kids either. He's like, yeah, but mine's not a choice. I physically can't do it. Do the math. And then
I thought the gamma radiation made him sterile. I didn't mean that. I don't think he.
Oh no, I think it means that he can't have sex with a woman without turning into Hulk. On top of the fact he literally just can't be a father because he'll probably kill the kids.
I don't know. With that hey big guy, I think she's fucked the Hulk.
No, I don't think they fuck. And
the Hulk fucked alien bitches on Sakaar.
That's different.
Okay.
Because they can take Hulk dick.
Yeah.
But a human being cannot take Hulk dong.
Yeah, no, that's
it's too
true.
large. It's like a fucking African elephant.
But the other reason I like Tony, outside of fucking, is he's the character whose abilities have evolved. Like, if you watch the first Iron Man, where he's like having to figure out just how to get the flight mechanisms to work, Infinity War, where it doesn't even really make sense because like all of his Iron Man suit, which has like repulsor cannons and all kinds of shit, is housed in a little triangle on his chest because it's nanoparticles.
You mean like toy evolved? Like he's gotten new suits. He's the only one that can, because like Cap's gotten new suits, but they don't do anything necessarily.
Exactly. No. Well, the first one, like the first Iron Man suit he builds is that practical clunky ass thing, and then he gradually
Mark 1.
Yeah, he gets up to Mark 5 in that movie, right?
No. The first Iron Man gets only to the 3 marks, and then like the next one's like 2 or 3 marks, I think, because it's.
But he's got a suitcase. The suitcase
he's
one's
in the
my
Mark
favorite
3 in the beginning of 2.
He basically goes like the first one's bulky,
and he's like Mark 50 something now.
Streamlines it into something small. Then the second one introduces the suitcase, where it's like he's now caring about. He has like a portable version as well as the main one. And then in Avengers, he's got like one that can actually like find him and latch onto him.
Well, you missed one. You forgot the triangular one. That when he finally got the right type of whatever it was, unobtainium in him.
It was palladium.
No, I think palladium was poisoning him.
God, that never made sense to me. That was a huge mistake in Iron Man 2, because it's like the whole plot point is that the palladium that he keeps in his chest is poisoning him. But in the first movie, he makes it clear he doesn't actually need to have anything in his chest outside of just like a car battery level powered magnet to keep the shrapnel. So why the fuck is he keeping an arc reactor in his chest if it's poisoning him? Just take it out and put yourself a fucking regular battery in there.
Well, that's kind of what they even like eventually got to with Iron Man 3. Because I mean, the character of Iron Man developed in the 60s and obviously through the 70s and 80s, you would be like, oh, totally. Like, you can't get that kind of shrapnel out of your heart. You'll just die, bro. But like nowadays you look at it and you're like, come on, you can't get shrapnel out of a dude's heart with like especially a billionaire in 2008. So I like how by 2013 they're just like, okay. This is a joke. He can't have fucking shrapnel in his heart anymore. This has to be removed. And I like how they did that. But then I loved how Infinity War brought it back as essentially a jogging gear he just wears all the time, like it's his billionaire outfit, like Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg. But his has like an arc reactor on it.
That is good costume design, because it's a camo hoodie, and so I guess the hoodie is part of the nanoparticle suit.
Yes, it's like I imagine that's what turns into the helmet, right?
He pulls like on the hoodie things as part, like the straps, so like they're connected to the housing unit. So like I guess it's all of his clothes.
Oh, I'm sure there's like a million ways he can turn that suit on.
Yeah, probably. It might just automatically do it if he's in danger. Because each movie has an evolution of his tech, whereas it's like all the other characters, it's like, yeah, Cap gets a new suit, but it doesn't fucking change anything. How does Cap's tech evolve? He gets a fucking magnet so that the shield can come back to him. Other than that, that's about it.
Which he doesn't really have at all in Civil War.
Yeah, it's like, how are they going to evolve Hawkeye's tech? He's using arrows in the first place,
right? And like Hulk, where there's no way to evolve his tech. I mean, you could give him a full bodysuit, I guess, really, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And Thor, it's just like whatever Asgardian gear he wants to put on for war that day.
I mean, Thor makes like, that one doesn't. People are right in criticizing that, like the whole movie of Ragnarok is him finding out I didn't need a hammer to begin with. The real treasure was the friends we made along the way. Like the power was inside of you, and it's like the next one he's like, I need a better hammer. I'm fighting.
Justin
Thanos
said
here.
that, didn't he? Bitch about that.
Other people have complained about it. Justin probably was
the first,
the very first in the world to,
very first
to note that.
It's confirmed.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, because I do agree that is something that's, and Nolan tried to like save it with something along the lines of like, like he finally came up against a gun too big that he needed also a big gun, and like I guess that makes sense because it's not that he's going up against Thanos, even though Thanos is so strong and powerful. It's that he's going up against the Infinity Gauntlet with all 6 Infinity gems or stones in there.
Why didn't he have the elf make him an Infinity Gauntlet?
Yeah, really. I mean, they obviously had the mold there. I mean, they could have done it then. I mean, I think that's what the next movie's likely going to be about. It has to have something to do with the Infinity Gauntlet being remade. That's my guess.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be a football fumble point when the gauntlet's dropped with every gem in it. And if I recall in the comics, that's when Nebula picks it up and she's all like, "Boom! I got it!"
It's gonna be Captain
like,
Marvel, I bet you.
I bet it's Nebula. I bet they tie it. If there's something like that happens at all, or if there's a chance for another character to like wield the Infinity Gauntlet for a period of time other than Thanos, I think it's likely to be Nebula. I mean, there's got to be a reason that they've made her character survive. You know, she's one of the last remaining Guardians other than Rocket. So I really like Thanos. So, I mean, like, he's probably my favorite, honestly, like, of the villains we've had so far. And I really liked Loki in the first Thor. Like, I found Loki a compelling character. I mean, he's not a bad guy in Thor. He barely does anything that bad. And therefore, like, I don't really see him as the villain. I kind of actually see nobody as the villain in that movie. And it's just one of those movies where it's kind of ends with, like, you know, a series of miscommunications and wrong circumstances.
And Thor?
And yeah, the first Thor, yeah. And I really like Loki. I like how he ends up becoming the bad out of, like, you know, not necessity, just because of just a bunch of shit went down and Thor was not in Asgard, so he doesn't know exactly what happened, and he just thinks Loki took over Asgard. Well, Loki didn't take over Asgard. His father fucking fell into a sleep and he was the only son left. I mean, and then Loki, like, actually doesn't like what Thor's doing. If you really look at what Thor is doing, Thor was kind of, you know, he was going to bring a war to Jotunheim and to Asgard with bringing Jotunheim there. So, I mean, like, Thor was, like, warmongering from the get-go before he was even king. And that was his, like, ceremony to become king, like, that we see at the beginning of Thor. And so Loki, in a way, does stop, like, this crazy fucking war that would have killed thousands of Asgardians and thousands of, like, you know, frost giants. And it's kind of crazy. Like, I really loved the character of Loki, but Thanos came out of nowhere in Infinity War. Josh Brolin just brought it, and he just blew Loki out of the water. And I even liked Eric Killmonger, but I think Thanos is the best.
I don't really see the many contenders.
Well, I mean, who do you have? I mean, really, like, right? It's like
those two, yeah.
It's those two and Eric Killmonger.
I don't give a shit about Killmonger. I think that
you don't like Yellow Jacket from Ant-Man.
No, oh yeah, played by, I know that actor's name, Corey Stoll from House of Cards.
Yeah, Corey Stoll. Yeah,
super memorable.
He is. I mean, you actually did remember that.
I don't remember his character. Well, yeah, Yellow Jacket. I guess I don't remember.
Malekith is also super lame, of course. Mickey Rourke's terrible.
To be fair, I remember Mickey Rourke though.
I liked actually Jeff Bridges as Obadiah Stane. He's a good first villain of the whole MCU.
Yeah, he's a good generic comic book movie villain.
And he's a real villain. Like, he just out of nowhere just turns the page and he's just like bad guy.
Yeah.
That's a pretty crazy, like, Chitauri. I guess you have Ronan the Accuser. You have Ego.
Chitauri aren't even characters. They're just a bunch of fucking faceless grunts.
They're the villains of the Avengers film, if you don't count Loki.
Yeah, that Joss Whedon just forgets aren't fucking robots. Because they all when they get disconnected from the mothership, they're all deactivated. I thought they were like living beings.
Joss Whedon started writing, like, he was watching, like, episode 1, The Phantom Menace, that day, and it, like, as he's watching that in the background, it, like, seeped into his script.
The control ship has been destroyed. Look!
Hey, Albert. Son of a gun.
Who else is in there? I guess it's Ultron. Ultron was good, but I don't know if he's like a great villain, honestly.
James Spader is good, but the character is a stopgap solution.
Guy Pearce.
I wish a waste of Guy Pearce. I really wanted Guy Pearce to be Batman for a long time.
I want Guy Pearce to be the Riddler.
Yeah, he could do that too. He could make that work. Cool. I mean, he'd be.
That's only because of Zodiac, not Zodiac. That's only because of Memento, though. Really.
Yeah.
It's just like I feel like the Memento is almost already kind of like halfway to a Riddler movie. Who else? What other villains are there? We've got
Memento's about a bad guy. He's the bad guy of his own story, and has a mental disability where he doesn't remember that he's the villain of his own story.
Yeah, what's Christopher Nolan having against mental disability people?
He's got an issue. I mean, like the entire Batman thing, basically, mental health stigma. Like all over that fucking Batman Begins, especially. It's like,
who would believe a guy? What did he say in the hotel?
Bruce, help me out here. Huh? Well, Guy dresses up like a bat. Clearly has issues.
Mental issues.
Dog. It was a big dog.
It was a big dog?
It was a dog.
Huh?
It was a big dog.
No!
No! No! I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. You don't shut up for a second, all right?
Who do you count as the villain of Ragnarok? I guess it's Hela, and it's kind of also Grandmaster.
Yeah. Towards the end, they got a little bit better. Keaton's okay too, because
Keaton's great.
He brings
Yes,
something
the
to that
Vulture.
character. He brings relatability to him. Who's gonna play Beta Ray Bill? It's gonna be a voiceover role.
Channing Tatum.
That's bad casting. I don't think so. No.
Frank Welker.
No, they don't do that shit. They don't get
Frank
voiceover
Oz.
guys. They get big names for their voiceover roles.
Mark Hamill.
Because it's like, yeah, we can have Sean Gunn on set every day, but we only have to pay Bradley Cooper for one fucking day, and everyone thinks of him as Rocket.
I know, and Sean Gunn's like walking around it, like crouched over all the time.
Oh yeah, his back apparently was really hurting after the first movie because he spent the entire movie crouched down.
Yeah, he's like 8 feet tall, and he like crouches down to 3 feet for the character of Rocket.
Yeah, so like, yeah, that's and fucking. By the way, I didn't realize this. I guess I did, but Vin Diesel is still credited as Groot in Volume 2 and Infinity War, and it's like, are they just pitch shifting his voice? Why are they even fucking? Why are they
they're
paying
pitch
him for
shifting
that?
Yeah, they're just pitch shifting him, and I think that someone walks around on set too as Groot because it's not Vin Diesel.
No,
I would. So there's like the way you do like Thanos. So Josh Brolin was sometimes like in a volume, but sometimes he was on a set, and they had like a big rod on his head that goes up, and there's like a little photo of Thanos, so everybody can look at the eyeliner of Thanos. Like, okay, there's Thanos' eyes. While Brolin is on set walking around in his little mocap suit. So what I would love though is Sean Gunn just to walk around on set just like that, standing tall when he's Rocket, and has like a little Rocket logo right where his dick is, to be like like this is where Rocket's eyeline is, and so everyone has to like look down right towards his crotch area every single time they want to like converse with Rocket, quote unquote.
Well, James Gunn kept
just let him walk around. Don't let him crouch around in a mocap suit. Just let him walk around in a mocap suit like Rocket does.
I think I don't know. I think crouching down is a big part of it. And fucking Andy Serkis, by the way, like his whole career has been spent like this, like
for sure,
crouching over, pretending to be things that he's not.
I imagine Andy Serkis does so much yoga.
Probably, because I mean, fucking 8 hours in that Golem position or in the Kong position, like your fucking back hurts. I didn't think about this, but like the Marvel is kind of, the whole MCU is almost a rejection of the Andy Serkis way of acting, because like the whole thing is like he's on set, he's doing the mocap with the other actors, and it's his voice. He's Precious. He's doing Gollum. He's doing the grunts for fucking the apes he plays.
He's Snoke.
But with Marvel, they're like, yeah, no, we're just gonna hire a cheap actor like Sean Gunn or whoever played Groot, and then have the big voice be portrayed by a big actor who spends a day in the studio, and we gave like Bradley Cooper is Rocket Raccoon, big on the marquee. And it's like that's a rejection of the Andy Serkis, like where one actor portrays the CGI character. And like when they fucking finally hire Andy Serkis, we're just gonna have you play an actor, like a character.
It goes further than that, because if they hired Andy Serkis, they can't. I'm sure Andy Serkis has in his clause that you have to almost animate every single facial tick exactly the way he does it. I'm sure there's something in his contract because there is leeway with animators. So for instance, Thor Ragnarok, the sequence in which Thor and Korg are walking around the I don't know what you would call it, their little bunker, their barrack where they sleep and Thor's like sprinting around. Well, they showed how they did that scene. And the way Taika Waititi, who's in a mocap suit, is playing Korg, he's playing Korg with a lot of hand motions, and he's kind of walking a little fast, and his hands are moving a little bit. But then you see like the side-by-side with the animation of Korg.
Yeah.
And Korg's not barely moving at all. He's very slow in his motions.
Yeah,
even his walk pace is different. And so it is not a 1-to-1 ratio of performance capture to digital performance.
Sure.
And Andy Serkis is all about 1-to-1.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure he is, because he's very into the getting it down precise at his own danger.
So Marvel would do an injustice to the whole, motion capture world. And they do, because they do it real fast. They do fast CGI. They shoot in bright lighting and daylights, lots of daylight shoots because they want to, or they overlight the scene because it is easy to do CGI that way.
Yeah.
And you can just do fast CGI.
Overlight so you can decide the lighting in post. That's the Robert Rodriguez actually kind of invented that. So credit where credit's due.
Yeah. What was the movies that he did that?
Spy Kids was where he came up with the idea that if you just overlight, he realized he can darken a side of an actor's face in post.
All I know is I saw Spy Kids 3D in theaters.
So did I. It's terrible.
It is terrible, and Stallone is horrible in it.
Yeah.
Talking about bad villains, Stallone is a bad villain in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I other than that, I guess it's just Thanos. I think he might be one of the best villains we've ever had in the MCU.
Yeah, well, who can forget Tim Roth as the Abomination?
Or William Hurt's, Thunderbolt Ross.
Is he even the villain? Is he even He is the same character in Civil War, but it's like
yes, and in Infinity War, same character, absolutely, all the way through, same person. I liked Robert Redford. As Alexander Pierce in The Winter Soldier.
I guess.
I liked how it was just like, here's a character. He's barely a comic book character. We don't give a fuck about his comic book character other than he's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. So here's a movie where you just can't see it all coming. And I guess you had Crossbones as a villain. But I liked the way Robert Redford kind of played his Robert Redford spy gamey self in Winter Soldier. I mean, he's not better than Thanos, though, for me.
I'm just doing a double check to make sure. Oh, we forgot about Ronan the Accuser.
Yeah, I didn't really like Ronan the Accuser very much as a character. And fucking what's his face? Baron Zemo.
Yeah.
Helmut Zemo. Batroc the Leaper, GSP. George St. Pierre.
George St. Pierre. What about him?
He played Batroc the Leaper in Winter Soldier.
That's right. I forgot about that. Oh, and Crossbones.
That could be Frank Grillo, Crossbones. Yeah, that's a good villain for sure. Thanos is also one of the few characters to be played by two people, Damien Poitier and also Josh Brolin. And that's not very common that you have two characters or two actors playing the same character. But yeah, I love Thanos. But yeah, it was War Machine is definitely one of them, played by Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard. And then you had Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo playing the Hulk. And then, of course, the kid that played Peter Parker in Iron Man 2 and was not obviously Tom Holland, who played Peter Parker in Civil War and Spider-Man Homecoming and Avengers Infinity War.
No, there's two Howard Starks, too, but that's not a recasting. That's just different ages.
That's just different ages, yeah. You had Dominic Cooper's young Howard, and then you have John Slattery as old Howard.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. There's one fucking more because the dark.
There is?
Yeah, in Thor: The Dark World.
Oh yeah, Fandral is played by Zachary Levi in the second one, and he was played by somebody else in the first one.
Yeah,
and they kill off Zachary Levi real fast because now he's Shazam.
Is it actually Zachary Levi getting killed in Ragnarok?
Yes, it is. And apparently, he said for Asgard, but they even cut that out.
Yeah, well, they really trimmed those characters down. Like, Sif's not available, and you don't care about the other three, so
yeah, really,
they're dead.
That's funny. Yeah, like for kind of like supporting player characters. Like, I don't care at all about the Warriors 3 or anything from like Thor's world. Like, I think the only like people that have good wards is Tony's. I literally love that they retconned Iron Man 2. As Peter Parker is that little boy that's about to get blasted away at the convention.
I don't know. Then that's real.
And then he puts his hand up, and then like Tony Stark is like shows up behind him, and he goes, "Way to go, kid!" And he flies off. That's Peter Parker. Kevin Feige has said that.
Nice work, kid.
That is Peter Parker, and that's totally retcon now that only because they have Peter Parker in this world. If you're counting like supporting characters, who would be your favorite? Because I guess maybe I would go with Bucky, if not Spider-Man, because Spider-Man doesn't really count because he's also his own main character.
Bucky's complicated because the Bucky dynamic is that Bucky was like this badass who could handle himself in a fight, and the military would love to have, and his like scrawny, weakling, pathetic friend Steve was always getting rejected and shit, and then like it gets reversed, and now his friend is like this badass who's super strong, and he's the weak one, and then he loses an arm, and then he becomes an assassin. A
cool assassin too.
Let's just go down the list of all the white superheroes who have best friend / kind of sidekick assistants who are people of color. We start with Iron Man.
And let's pick our favorite in the end.
It's pick our favorite. So we start with the first one, Iron Man. Iron Man, of course, has a black best friend. He even in Civil War, he even says, "Give me back my Rhodey." Like he fucking owns him. He sees Rhodey as his property.
Give me back my Rhodey.
Let's move forward. Credible Hulk. No black friends or ethnic assistants of any kind, unless I'm mistaken.
Jessica Jones has one, right?
She does. But we're sticking to the movies, and also white men, who are of course the slave owners of the day. Thor has 4 assistants / sidekicks. One's a girl, 2 are white guys, and one's an Asian guy.
Yes, absolutely.
So he only gets 1 POC.
What's his name?
I don't even fucking know. He's the only one who gets like lines in Ragnarok and
Wait,
gets killed by Hela, right?
Hogun, like Shogun.
Oh shit, that's not racist. All right, Cap in the first Avenger, no black friends, wouldn't have worked for the time.
No, he does. He has Derek Luke as his friend from the Howling Commandos.
Oh yeah. There's an Asian guy in there too, but he's from Pasadena or some shit.
Yes, and his son or his grandchild is the principal at Spider-Man's school.
Avengers flips the script because they have all the heroes have a black guy in charge of them, but he's not really. He's more just like the nanny.
Oh, he is kind of
the Muppet Baby nanny, trying to keep them together.
A caretaker.
Yeah. Iron Man 3 really strengthens the relationship between Tony Stark and his black best friend.
Yes.
Let's just skip Dark World because fuck it.
Hogun again.
And move on to Winter Soldier, where now Cap gets a black best friend who's his assistant sidekick, who's always got his back. Because Civil War is basically 2 white men who have a problem and their like black best friend who have to get like roped into the conflict that they have no stake in.
The people that shoot at you usually wind up shooting at me.
But even in Age of Ultron, he's like, Cap's like, sorry that you had to hang out here. And he's like, yeah, don't worry. I don't mind always following up with our missing persons case while you go do all the fun stuff.
Sounds like a hell of a fight. Sorry, I missed it.
If I had known it was going to be a firefight, I absolutely would have called.
No, I'm not actually sorry. I'm just trying to sound tough. Very happy chasing cold leads on our missing persons case. Avenging is your world. Your world is crazy.
It's like this passive aggression. I don't know. Maybe Falcon's my favorite.
So far of the black sidekicks or people of color sidekicks?
I think so.
Maybe there's a lot more to come.
I just feel like he got screwed over in Infinity.
Guardians doesn't really have it because Gamora is technically green and she's not.
Oh, that's true. I know they all are. That's people of color for sure. Gamora, Drax, Nebula. They all have to answer to Star-Lord.
Nah, they're all pretty equals. Nobody's really a sidekick.
No, Star-Lord's definitely the leader.
It's straight up said, like Falcon straight up says, yeah, like when people start shooting, whenever you are in a conflict, I guess I'm also in that conflict because I do what you say. And of course, Brody is like contractually owned by Tony, so.
Why do you want to get in the Mandingo business?
Well, they all go fight for essentially Peter Quill to go kill his dad.
They're trying to save the universe too, though, of the galaxy. I'm going to say no POC sidekicks in Guardians. And Avengers, you just see the return of Rhodey and Falcon being told, like, wait in the back of the bus till the end of the movie, and then you get to the Avengers.
Jesus. Okay.
That's what happens.
It does. Rhodey gets to do something at the end of Age of Ultron. I kind of think it's a missed out moment that Falcon doesn't do anything at the end of Age of Ultron.
Okay, what?
the most important character of color in that movie is Red because he's Vision. Red and green. I guess his skin is red. I guess it's all his skin. I mean,
yeah, really.
Even the cape is
synthetic skin. It's synthetic vibranium skin.
All right. Ant-Man has a team of.
Oh yeah, T.I. Yeah, Dalshmain guy or whatever his name is, and then Michael Pena.
A white guy and his assistants who are not white.
Interesting. Okay.
Civil War.
Yeah, I'm still going with Sam Wilson.
Okay. Civil War doesn't introduce any new one. Oh no, yes. Black Panther's nobody's assistant. He's his own guy. The black friends are just, overtly roped into a conflict between two white men.
Oh, but he's got a whole bunch of underlings. Oh, but he's not a white guy. Oh, I see. That's right. It has to be a white guy.
Yeah, it's okay. Gotcha. It's okay that all of Black Panther's slaves are black women mostly.
He calls them slaves.
That's I know I did. Well, there's bodyguards who have to die to protect him.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's slaves.
I mean maybe they signed up for it. Sure.
You wouldn't call the Secret Service slaves. You call them heroes.
Well, moving on. Doctor Strange. Now they had to fucking change the character to make this work in 2017.
And they changed it to make Baron Mordo a black guy.
No, well, I'm talking about Wong.
Wong. Just Wong?
Being Doctor Strange's fucking butler. And
he's like a manservant. I think he's actually called his manservant.
And he's just like, oh yes, Mr. Doctor Strange, I help you. And he has he's written in the early comics as having a horrible racist stereotype accent to him.
Yeah, because by the time in the 90s when I started reading any of that stuff,
they changed that shit by then.
Yeah, because he's in Wong's a big part of the Infinity War, but he's still more of a butler. He's not an equal. I mean, at least when I read, he was definitely not an equal. He was like a butler character. He was Alfred Pennyworth.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's because as we have seen with various incarnations of Alfred, he's almost owned by Batman in some ways. But he's always white, so it's never that creepy. But when it's an Asian guy who doesn't speak English and the Doctor Strange just buy Wong in the comics off a boat, and it's because Wong doesn't have any he doesn't do any of that sorcery shit. He doesn't have any of those powers. They tried to make him equal and also make him a wizard.
You're a wizard, Harry. A wizard.
And have him be a wizard before Doctor Strange even is. So they tried to make that one okay, but we all know where it really came from.
Who's next on the list then? I guess would it be Spider-Man Homecoming?
Let's not skip Guardians, because in Guardians they get an Asian pet. She's basically a pet.
She's not a pet.
She's written.
She's a pet to Ego. She's a pet to Ego, but not to them.
She's a pet to Ego, but they just kind of adopt her because she's like a puppy. She's
You're right. She just kind of wanders in.
She does not have human intelligence. She's definitely stupider than all these
I think she has human intelligence. I think she's just absolutely been abused. I think she's suffering from a massive abuse.
I got a penis.
Ha! Thank you.
They show you could see her mom in the mosaic of women that Ego fucks when he does all those sculptures, those living sculptures. He fucks a woman just like her who is supposed to be her mom.
So she's his daughter?
James Gunn's confirmed this. So when they talk about how he kills off all his offspring, she, other than Peter, is the only one he never killed off.
Wouldn't that make her his half sister? They never mentioned that.
No, they never mentioned, but that is James Gunn has confirmed that absolutely that is Peter Quill's half sister.
It's confirmed.
And I guess she's not technically Asian because she's an alien, but I always saw that as
Mantis in the comics was drawn as a green Asian person.
Okay, really? That's interesting.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's the way I took it.
I just see that as the end that the Guardians adopt an Asian pet girl. Spider-Man: Homecoming, of course, gives us. It's as diverse a movie as a fucking United Benetton ad from the 90s. Everybody's a different race.
Or my high school growing up.
Everybody is a different race, but the focus of the movie is still on a white man who's Peter Parker.
Just like my high school growing up.
Who someday will get a little Spider-Man who's black and like half Mexican or something.
No, Puerto Rican. Miles Morales.
Puerto Rican. But Miles Morales is not in this movie because he's probably still a baby.
He's mentioned.
Not by name, but as his
as a nephew.
Yeah, as a nephew is mentioned. But he does get a straight up assistant who even refers to himself as "I will be your guy in a chair," like Chloe, basically. It's like basically saying you're the one who does the heroic shit, and I run tech support or I Google shit for you. So basically,
what's that
secretary.
character's name?
Ned Leeds.
Ned Leeds,
who is Asian-ish. Jacob Batalon. And yeah, he's weird looking. He's Hawaiian, so he's Pacific Islander. So yeah, he is a person of color who is owned by Spider-Man in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Guy in a chair.
Well, we're down to our last one because Thor finds himself a lady of color, a WOC, who's kind of a lady Thor. And that character's name is...
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
I thought you were a Valkyrie. You know, I used to want to be a Valkyrie when I was younger, until I found out that you were all women. There's nothing wrong with women, of course. I love women. Sometimes a little too much. Not in a creepy way, just more of a respectful appreciation. I think it's great that there is an elite force of women warriors. It's about time.
Wait, her name is Valkyrie? I thought she was a Valkyrie.
I think that she's only known as Valkyrie in the film. Yeah, I think it's kind of like what I read in the end after we've done the Thor spoiler cast. We didn't really mention it in that. Is that Valkyrie apparently was a lesbian, the character Tessa Thompson played, and the character of Valkyrie from the comic books, who's blonde and buxom, is the character we see die in front of Tessa, and they apparently were lovers.
So we got a QWOC.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Which is a queer woman of color.
I figured.
Although there is a little bit of sexual chemistry between them, where they like both get on the ship and they almost kiss.
Yeah, I think it's almost like either the idea is that nobody can resist Thor, Odinson, or that she's just like maybe Pan.
I had not realized that she was the team was called Valkyries, and yet her character is named Valkyrie.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out like a name at some point.
Yeah, her character is.
She might just be the next Thor, realistically. If Thor dies in Avengers 4, I would still, as long as we can keep it within like the same realm as Ragnarok and within the same creative team as Ragnarok, I would be totally down with a film where we follow Korg, Meek, and Valkyrie on their own adventure with the remaining Asgardians.
I think that would be awful. But we skipping back, we fucked up because we forgot Thor. Thor's best friend and assistant for always turning that sword to help him out, and retroactively referred to as his best friend in Infinity War. He said because Rocket like, you have a best friend. He's like, he was stabbed by Thanos like 5 minutes ago. It's like
I think he was talking about like I have a lot of best friends like Thor does. So I think he just has a lot of best friends.
He has a lot of best friends, and most of them have been stabbed through the heart. But I thought he was referring specifically to Heimdall. So yeah, Heimdall kind of is like his first black assistant. We forgot about Heimdall.
Heimdall was an idiot. This job should have made him rich.
Well, Heimdall's more like Odin's assistant.
He seems pretty loyal to Thor.
Well, I guess by the end of Thor Ragnarok, Thor is technically king of Asgard, so he would then be immediately Thor's assistant. So by Infinity War, when he dies for his master.
Not a very long working relationship there. Yeah, Thor's black friends are mostly kind of doing their own thing. It's not as bad as, because Falcon's just straight up like, I guess I'm doing whatever Captain America tells me to do today. I guess I'm an Avenger now. I guess I get to fight. I guess I get to guard the Avenger station from Ant-Man.
Yeah, from Ant-Man coming in and stealing, some tech, some whatever particular tech they needed for their heist.
Yeah. And like, Rhodey's supposed to be like pretty high up with the fucking Air Force. But like all
colonel.
Whenever fucking his rich white friend calls him, it's like, well, I gotta drop what I'm doing and go help him.
They'll try to leave the city. We can't let him, not even one. Rhodey.
On it.
Oh, no, I didn't say you could leave. War Machine coming at you.
What do they get for following their white friends? Rhodey gets paralyzed.
Feel my legs.
The Falcon becomes a fugitive.
Our fugitive has been on the run for 90 minutes. What I want out of each and every one of you is a hard target search of every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, or doghouse in that area.
Oh shit! Yeah, he becomes a wanted man. Wong gets left on his own to be the last sorcerer on all of Earth to take care of all the sanctums.
Wong, what do you want, stranger?
Books on astral projection.
You're not ready for that.
Try me, Beyonce.
I'm going with Mantis. I think that's my favorite. Who's yours?
Rhodey. Just because, what better fucking example of no. You're not up here. You're down here. Is there than saying, yeah, we're just going to replace you with another black guy.
The committee would now like to invite Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes to the chamber.
Rhodey? What?
Hey, buddy. Didn't expect to see you here.
Look, it's me. I'm here to deal with it. Let's move on.
We can get Don Cheadle for less than you want, Terrence Howard. Do you think you're better than Don Cheadle? You're Don Cheadle now.
This confirmed.
You're Don Cheadle now.
You just got Cheadled.
That's what Cheadle says when he walks past Terrence Howard in the hallways. You just got Cheadled.
Ow! Yeah.
You should get lost.
I was here first. Get a roof.
Damn. Next time, baby.
Well, we better stop talking about all these marvelous Marvel moments and moments movies because something Marvel, something butt sex, something in my mouth, something in my ass, Lance, something. I'll see you later, alligator.
That was bad.
What's happening?
That is called a joke.
Cool boy nation. Tell us what you think about this episode's fabulous Marvel boner moments and movies. Also, if you have any questions or any more insights on our fabulous boners, then let us know by emailing us at thecoolboyspodcast@gmail.com. New episodes of the Cool Boys Podcast come out every Tuesday. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, and please rate and review us as well. You can also donate to us on Patreon and receive additional content like Cool Boys After Dark and commentaries. It only costs $1, and you will receive special access to content too hot to air. You can find the Cool Boys on Patreon at patreon.com/coolboyspodcast. Please check out our other great Cool Boys Central content with Batman and Beyond, a Cool Boys podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Patreon, where the Cool Boys have an uncensored discussion about Batman the Animated Series. Everything ranging from bat tips to bat nipples and all the boners they have given us. Thank you for listening. Stay cool, Cool Boy Nation. Until next time, it's Byzies for Fantastic Felch.
And that's Byzies from Blade Shaven Ballard.
Neither of which are from the MCU.
Yeah, what happened? It seems like somebody came in here and changed our names from the beginning of the episode. Uh-oh.
You are standing American boy.
You have excelled in all things.
I pump while I dump. Oh, yeah.
So cool.
Oh, yeah. So cool.
Oh, yeah.
So cool.
Get out of here, damn silly. Get out of here!
Oh, yeah.
This episode of the Cool Boys Podcast was brought to you by... I do like the fact that Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie was like... Captain America runs faster than him, and he's like, I'll do whatever you say now. You want me to use my fucking wings?
Captain America is like a huge celebrity at that point. That would be like coming across a celebrity who wants to be your friend. That'd be like coming across Tom Cruise, and he wants to be your friend.
I guess. Tom Cruise has had a black friend in a lot of movies too.
Name your favorite.
I guess Jerry Maguire. That whole movie is about him getting a black friend.
Show me the money.
Who teaches him lessons that, let's face facts, seem a little weird that they had to come from a black guy. It's like, hey, I'm a white guy. I don't know nothing about single motherhood, but I'm dating a single motherhood. Hey, random black guy, do you know anything about single mothers? Yeah, man, I was raised by a single mother. Like, gee.
Is that how it went down in the movie?
Yes.
What do you know about dating a single mother?
No, plenty. I was raised by a single mother.
90s, man.
The 90s were a different time.
Get some cool boys. So serious.
Bye.